So how many people in this audience write a handwritten letter once a day? Anyone wrote a letter in the last 24 hours? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people in the audience have checked email in the last 24 hours? Yeah, me too. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but in consumer technology, if you want to know what people like us will do tomorrow, you look at what teenagers are doing today. And the latest figures say that only 11% of teenagers email daily. So email, I can't imagine life without it, is probably going away. So what do teenagers do? They SMS, and increasingly, they use social networking. When I was in college, I had an adopted little sister through one of those big sister programs named Denise. She was really important to me, and we stayed in touch for many years. And then we lost touch, and I really wanted to make sure she was okay. And I actually flew back to Boston and walked around the streets of her neighborhood banging on doors saying, "Has anyone seen this family?" And I couldn't find her. Last year, I got this message. She found me on Facebook, and she said, "Are you the Sheryl Sandberg who was my big sister when I was in elementary school and you were in college?" Anyone who's ever used Facebook has looked up their old boyfriends and girlfriends. If you pretend, anyone in this audience who says they haven't done it is blatantly lying to you, and you should know that. So my very first friend was named Joey. We were 4. I have 2 preschool-age children. If they think they're going to have a boyfriend or girlfriend, I'm going to kill them. So I didn't really consider Joey a boyfriend, but he was certainly my first friend. Well, Joey is now Joe, and he found me. And he said the following: "I looked up my very first girlfriend on Facebook. After all, that's one of its great uses, right? Only to find that she's the COO of the darn thing." Facebook connects people in really extraordinary ways. So a woman named Kathy Schroeder was invited to go on Facebook as part of her college reunion, or maybe her high school reunion, getting together. And she went onto the page of a high school friend. And on that page, she saw a link from a woman named Beth, a woman who had 2 children and had 1 functioning kidney functioning at 10%. And if she didn't find a donor, was going to die, and had gone through all her friends and family, and no one was a match. So even though they were complete strangers, Kathy was quite taken with the story. And she got tested, she was a match, she went to meet Beth, and she donated her kidney to save this life. I studied economics in college. And economics and economists talk a lot about the invisible victim. They talk a lot about how if 1 million people are harmed in something, or 6 million children die every year in this world of unclean water and malaria and tuberculosis, those numbers are too hard for us to really imagine. Those are the invisible victims. The sheer numbers makes it hard for us to relate to them on a one-to-one basis. But when those invisible victims become visible, that is when people are moved to act. And when you think about it, there are 108,000 people on the organ donation list in this country. 16 people die every day for lack of an organ. I'm sure Kathy Schroeder knew that, or could have known it easily. And she wasn't motivated to donate her organ. Why did she do it? She did it because she saw a real person, a real mother with 2 children, because that invisible person became very visible because of the power of individual voice and identity online. Worldwide, we have over 400 million people who use Facebook, and that number is growing rapidly. It was 150 million about a year ago. 100 million people use Facebook every day on their mobile applications and on their mobile phones, and we are by far the #1 application on every device, from the iPhone to RIM to the Android, across the world. We're very much a global company with global users. We have 100 million users in the US. That means that on any given day, you can reach more people in the US on Facebook, twice as many people as watch American Idol. But that actually makes up only 30% of our global audience. 70% of our global audience is all around the world. And we take our own advice. The way we translated our product from English into other languages was on the web. We put up a translation console, and 300,000 volunteers got on and translated our site into 70 languages, enabling these 300 million people to use it all over the world.